So that was a perfect segue to our last topic of the day. So as we've been talking about, every now and then, so Black Panther is arguably one of the greatest movies, not only of the MCU, but of all time. Not because of financial success, but because of cultural success and cultural status. And unfortunately, we just lost a superhero, literal superhero, a couple years ago in Chadwick Boseman. And so there had been, and I didn't even know about this until I read this, there had been a movement to actually recast Chadwick Boseman. Did you know about this, Kyle?
Yeah,
So, anyways, there had been a movement and a petition signed by over 60,000 people to recast King T'Challa. And so, for the new Wakanda Forever movie. And so, studio head and president Kevin Feige sat down with Empire not too long ago, and he explained his decision. And he said, quote, "It just felt like it was much too soon to recast. Stan Lee always said that Marvel represents the world outside your window. And we had talked about how, as extraordinary and fantastical as our characters and stories are, there's a relatable and human element to everything we do. The world is still processing the loss of Chad, and director Ryan Coogler, poured that into the story," end quote. He also went on to say, quote, "The conversations were entirely about, yes, what do we do next? And how does the legacy of Chadwick and what he has done to help Wakanda and the Black Panther become these incredible, aspirational, iconic ideas continue? That's what it was about," end quote. So, couple of things. Now, question number one. Do you think they made the right decision not recasting?
That's a very hard question. I will say they made the right decision by not recasting the role. I haven't seen the movie yet, though, so I'll reserve that until I see the actual film.
Okay. Number two, and I think this is an interesting little nugget here that he says. Let me read the quote again, because I think a lot of people not misconstrued it, but they want something different. "It just felt like it was much too soon to recast." So here's my question to you. Do you think they would ever, knowing Marvel, knowing what I'm not saying fake deaths, but knowing how Marvel works, do you think they would ever recast the Black Panther?
Yes. I think that we could very well see another version of him from the multiverse. I think that is especially when you have other versions of other, characters like a Andrew Garfield Spider-Man or a Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. So definitely, I think that we could see that in the future.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that, that's interesting. I would agree with you. And I think that, and this just came to me off the top of my head, do you think, now that the next two phases have been planned out, do you think we might see the new Black Panther in Secret Wars? Or the Kang Dynasty?
I mean, it's possible that is I
know it's kind of like right around the corner in 2024, 2025. But
the thing is, this is the thing though with Wakanda Forever. It's going to be about the new Black Panther and whoever takes up the mantle, whether it be a Shuri, whether it be a Nakia, whether it be, any of the other characters that we know already, or a new character that might take up the Black Panther mantle. We have no idea. But I think that whoever it is, they will be like the center Black Panther of the MCU. The question is, though, how long will that last? And I think that's something that we'll have to determine. But I will say that, according to this article, I completely understand what Kevin Feige is saying. And I think, unfortunately, with this recast T'Challa movement, it has gotten quite toxic. Because a lot of the people out there, I believe, there are people out there that mean well. I think the idea that, Black Panther should be a character that shouldn't be killed off. The character of Black Panther of T'Challa should be a character that is a mantle that's passed down to many other actors to play, and by them, killing off the Black Panther character, it kind of has now kids no longer having that T'Challa character to look forward to in the movies, and also it kind of hurts like maybe another black actor out there that might be a great Black Panther. Now they no longer have the opportunity to play that role. But at the same time, you have to keep in mind that what they did is something that is unprecedented, and it is something that they had to do because there was no other choice for them to continue with the film, especially when they literally lost a loved one a year before the film went into production. And it's an impossible situation that I think they went about it the only way that they could, and that was by not recasting the role and essentially
I think
going through the grieving process by making this movie in honor of Chad.
Yeah. Well, I think, and you bring up an interesting point. It's one of those things where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. Okay, if you recast the role, you're going to get people to say, "What are you doing recasting the role so soon after his death?" On the flip side of the coin, okay, if you don't recast it, people are going to say, "What are you doing not recasting the Black Panther?"
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you do, you're still going to get backlash. And I think Kevin and Marvel actually did the only thing they could was just say, you know what? We need to completely distance ourselves and make a, quote, tribute film to Chadwick Boseman. And then at the end, maybe then we'll figure out what we need to do. But right now, because as he said, people are still grieving. It's been only 2 years.
And that's why
and that's the crazy thing.
It always upsets me, though, when I see on Twitter or social media people saying they want to boycott the movie, people saying things like...
Well, not to cut you off, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of hashtag release the Snyder Cut. This is exactly what you have, and then I go, we're not going to get into it, okay? I'm not going to do a deep dive, but it's called The Fringe. Where you have those people that absolutely, it doesn't matter what you tell them, what role it is, who's going to do it, you're still going to get backlash. It doesn't matter. It could be James Bond. We were just talking about James Bond the other day. It doesn't matter. There's still going to be those people that go, oh, he's not right for that role.
And I think,
it doesn't matter.
As we were saying at the top of this conversation, I think there's a possibility that he will be recast. I think that we will get a new... it wouldn't even be a recast, too. It would just be someone playing him from another multiverse. I think that people should, be more patient with Marvel. And I think that they're starting to get to the point where they're like, oh, you did this? Oh, that means this is going to happen. But we don't know all the answers. We're not Kevin Feige. I think the most important thing is that the family and friends of Chadwick are happy with this film, and most likely they will be based on this trailer, because boy, it will. This movie is going to be one heck of an emotional roller coaster. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. And I just, and you hit the nail right in the head. It's not about us. Here's one of those rare times where it's not about the movie fans. Do we want to see a good movie? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it's like we have to pay tribute to somebody. And this is why, this is kind of a stretch, but bear with me. It's like all of these other... That's why Elvis Presley's wife came out and, Lisa Marie and everybody else came out and said, this is the Elvis, the film that just came out this last summer. This is the best film about Elvis I have ever seen. I was his wife. I lived this. To that point, when you have a family that is, and we are human and we are still grieving. And I think the wrong thing to do is critics need to take this, and they will, but they need to take it for what it's worth. This isn't about us. This is about them. And once we get past this, 2 years from now, when we're sitting here talking about this, remember what Wakanda Forever, when there was that, people are going to love it. So I think it's one of those things where it needs time to breathe. So and you hit the nail. The last thing I'll say is this: you hit the nail right in the head. He says it was too soon to recast. Now with this multiverse out there, you can do anything you want. Mm-hmm. So, what do you guys think? Do you guys think they should have recast T'Challa? If you were going to recast him, who would you get as to be playing the Black Panther? And would you put him in Wakanda Forever, or would you wait until the next film? Leave your thoughts below and let us know what you think, guys.